Most reviews just look at one or maybe two. Today we're ending the debate. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which one of these knives is the undisputed king, my undisputed king of Urban EDC, and which one is all talk. One more thing. One of these is an imposter, a fake. Watch the video and make your guess, and I'll let you know at the end. So, welcome to the world of the non-locking knives. If you live somewhere like the UK, as I do, or some other countries, or even some states in the US, you know the struggle. And Spyderco basically invented this modern, one-handed opening, non-locking knife to give us some convenience in our daily life. So let's just look at some of the common characteristics with all three of these before I go into the details. So, common characteristics, all three have the leaf blade shape. Now there are some other blade shapes available for some of these, but this is the typical Spyderco leaf shape. They all have a full flat grind, which you can see, which makes them really slicey. So there's a decent thickness at the back for each of these, but they're still slicey, and you can see the secondary bevel at the end. Now, they come in lots of different steels. I'm not going to focus on the steels too much for this. For one, I'm not a steel snob, so it doesn't matter to me too much. For the softer steels, you just have to sharpen more frequently, but then generally they're easier to sharpen. But I will mention the steels as I go through. The other thing is that all of these are a deep pocket carry. So they have a wire clip. It means it sits deep in your pocket. You only see this wire clip sticking out of your pocket. It looks very similar to the clip on a pen, so it's quite a discreet carry, and it's tip up carry, so that when you take it out of your pocket, you can deploy it straight away with one hand. Perfect. If you've got some cardboard to cut to go into the recycling, this just comes straight out of your pocket and it's there ready to do what you need to do with it. The only other thing which I'll talk about when I go through individually is that the scale materials are slightly different. These two are the standard fiberglass reinforced nylon. This one's micarta. It's a special, but I'll go through that. That didn't affect my decision on which was the best knife for me at all. Okay, let's start going through some of the details and the specs, and we'll start off with the largest, which is the UK PK. So this is the one that I got first, and I found this a fantastic knife. You can see it's a full 4-finger carry with the finger choil. The great thing about, and it's the same for all of these, that forward finger choil enables you to hold the knife for some precise work if you've got some precise cutting to do. Also, if you put your forefinger in that finger choil, then the blade isn't going to close on you. So because it hasn't got a lock. The lockup is not too bad, but you can break it. You can stiffen it by tightening up the pivot screw if you want. I don't like to have mine too loose or too tight. In this case, this one was made in, let's see if I can get that in view. This one is a US made one from Golden, Colorado. And the steel, if you can see this, is CTS BD1. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. So should we go through some of the specs for this? So size-wise, and I'll do it just in millimeters, but I'll put the imperial up on the screen. So size-wise, closed, this is 105 millimeters, which is 4 inches. Open, it's 175 millimeters. We'll just show you there. So 175 millimeters, which is 6.9 inches. And then the blade measures in at 75 millimeters, which is just under 3 inches, which makes it UK legal. So for it to be a UK legal knife, so legal carry at any time, it needs to be non-locking, with a non-automatic opening. Now this is one hand opening, but it doesn't, you're not pressing a button or releasing a lever to open it. And the blade has to be 3 inches or less. Now that's the cutting edge. That's in the legislation, but some people are talking about from the end of the handle to the tip of the blade, but this passes on both anyway. And this is the largest of the 3. So the weight, let's just check that. So, and again, I'll do it in grams, but I'll put the ounces up as well. So it's weighing in at 49 grams, which is about 1.7 ounces. So this is the biggest, still UK legal, and great to have in your pocket. Very sharp, very slicey. This one with the CTS BD1, it's not a super steel at all. It's very easy to sharpen. You don't even need a diamond stone for this. So that's a UK PK. Next, we have the Urban. So the middle one. This is my most recent purchase. I got this at Blade Show. I brought it from a good friend, Judd, who was selling it. Now, this is actually the Heinnie Haynes version, and Judd had these vapor puffin scales put on as well. I believe they're micarta, and they're probably a little bit heavier than the FRN scales. So same leaf pattern, same finger choil. And for me, and I have medium-sized hands, I'd say it's a good 4-finger grip, especially with my forefinger up there to stop it closing. And again, as with all, it's got the jimping there. And this one was made in Maniago in Italy. Let's see if we can see that. Hopefully you can see that on the video. And yeah, it's CPM S90V. So this is a much better steel and won't require sharpening as much. And I probably need to use a diamond stone to sharpen it. So just looking at the specs for this. So while we've got it open, just measuring the length, it's 150 mils open, which is about 5.9 inches. The blade is 62 mils, which is 2.5 inches, and closed, it's 90 millimeters, which is 3.5 inches. And then just checking the weight of this. So it's weighing in at 50.5 grams, which is about 1.8 ounces. So interestingly, and I don't know if this is the micarta, or maybe the blade stock, I think, is a little bit thicker on the Urban. You can see this compared to the UK PK. So it is slightly heavier than the UK PK. So last of all, we have the Squeak. So the same format, and this one is from Maniago in Italy. I don't know if we can see that. Yeah, and it's N690 CO. So it's an okay steel. It's probably similar to D2. Not a super steel at all, but it's going to be easy to sharpen. And the hold of this, it's about a 3.5 finger grip. So 3 comfortably, with my pinky just sort of tucking in on the end. So very discreet, about the same size as a box cutter really. And talking of size, it's open, it's 130 millimeters or 5 inches. The blade is 50 millimeters or 2 inches, and closed, it's a very tiny 80 millimeters or about 3 inches closed. And then looking at the weight with this as well, it's weighing in at 37 grams or about 1.3 ounces. So I've gone through the stats. I've carried all of these. I'm not going to do a test. I can do some longer videos if you want to do that, because let's face it, these are all nice slicey knives. If you've got any Spydercos, they are great knives. They cut well. They fit in your pocket well. They open one-handedly really well for this size. If you go smaller than the Squeak, I think it's harder to get that one-hand opening. This is about as small as I would want to go. It's harder to get that sort of leverage. I've got the grasshopper somewhere, and that's quite difficult to open one-handed. Bearing in mind as well that because these aren't locking, then they tend to be a slightly slower opening because there's a little bit of friction there. Whereas with the button lock ones, a lot of people do the Spidey flick, which I have these set not to do that. I'm not interested in having something that flicks out, but the one-handed opening goes well. So which one is my favorite? Have you guessed? For a long time, it was a UK PK. Then I got the Squeak and I quite liked it, but it just didn't quite open as well as I wanted. The blade's a little bit short, so if you want to use it for food and stuff, it's a bit limited. And so my winner here is the Urban. It's just right. You know, if this was like Goldilocks, the UK PK, after carrying the Urban, the UK PK feels a little bit on the big side. And when you compare the blades, and now I know we shouldn't be worried about this, but if you're getting your knife out in front of other people, in front of non-knife people, which often happens, if you've got something to cut, if you've got some fruit to cut up and things. So the UK PK is considerably more pointy. These two, and there's not actually a huge difference in size between the two when you look at the blade. But these two are less pointy looking, less likely to raise an eyebrow. And I just found that the Urban was just the perfect fit for me. I actually love these Vapor Puffin scales, so VP Creations. And but even for the standard FRN, it's nice and grippy. It's got enough thickness in there for you to hold it without it making your hand hurt. And the one-handed deployment is it's just hooked in your pocket. It comes straight out and it deploys really easily, really quickly. And it's very easy to keep sharp. It's not a difficult knife to sharpen. It's all curve, but within that, you can do that with just a small diamond sharpener will keep that sharp all the time. So that was my winner. Now, the imposter. Did you guess which one it was? Is it obvious looking at them? Well, the imposter was the Squeak. I find it worrisome, actually. I wanted to try the Squeak without paying the price. This was literally 5%, maybe 5 to 10% of the normal price of the Squeak. What concerns me is that with the box it came in, it's pretending to be a Spyderco. So if you're interested, I can do a whole video going through that. But as a watch out, if you're buying secondhand Spydercos, make sure that you've got some authenticity there. Make sure that somebody can trace it back to where they bought it from, because these cheap AliExpress copies are very good. And there it is. The showdown is over and the Urban is sitting on the throne. That's just my take, putting them through their paces and carrying them for a while. The great thing about this lineup is that there really is a perfect knife for just about anyone. Did you guess right on the imposter? Let me know if you would like me to do a video on the fake Spyderco. And I want to hear from you. Which one would you pick? Are you a team UK PK for that unbeatable grip and large blade, or team Squeak for the deep cover carry and that small knife that isn't going to raise an eyebrow anyway? Or do you agree with me that the Urban is the rightful king? Drop a comment below and let me know if you want to see more deep dives and head-to-head battles just like this. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next. Why not watch this video on the UK PK or this playlist on modern folders? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.